Hi, good morning, everybody. It's Early Riser 7-1 coming at you with the last installment of the Director's Cuts videos. I always said I wanted to get this process through the Smokies to help out new through hikers getting ready for their upcoming season, or any section hikers are going to do sections along this route. So today we go from Cosby Knob Shelter all the way to Hot Springs. So this video encompasses day 16 and day 17. It is currently November the 25th, Saturday. I got a lot of good college football to watch today, so I'm going to knock this out early. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm watching the sun rising outside my windows, and it's gorgeous. Got to chase some sunrises. Okay, so starting off today, Cosby Knob Shelter, mile marker 229.6. I spent a lot of time talking about the people at the shelter. And then I should have known. I should just fast forwarded to this video and realized that I was going to talk about them as I started leaving that morning. So you'll hear a little bit about that. And the guy I kept calling Doc, his trail name was Medicine Man. So easy. Don't know how I could remember that yesterday, but it's just what I do. I forget. So let's look at the terrain real quick. Again, we're starting at 4766 in elevation, so pretty high. We got a descent right out of the gate. I remember it. It was like freaking cold and icy coming down that. And then we got another good climb, the last climb in the Smokies, and we start heading down, 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 all the way down to like 1,300 feet when we cross under I-40 and then stop at Standing Bear. We'll get there in a minute. So a couple of things to note. This lookout tower right here, the Mount Camerer Trail, and 0.6 to the summit lookout tower. Folks, y'all don't hear me talking about I took a lot of side trails to go see some views. If they're 0.1 or 0.2 off the trail, I'll do it. If not, probably not going to do it. And I'll tell you two thoughts on that. If you're walking in the winter time or in early spring where there's no leaves, you don't have to chase a lot of views, because you have views to your left and right all day long because there's no leaves on the trees, and it's fabulous. However, I can see if you're stuck in the green tunnel, taking some of these vistas to go pull yourself out of that tunnel and get to see some views would be definitely worth it. And it may be worth it to some, hike your own hike, might be some worth to some anyway. But this one right here, and you'll see it on the video, is worth the trip. It's amazing. It's like an octagon shaped fire tower. You can get inside of it. Dare I say, you can probably sleep in there if you needed to, if it was really cold or windy or stormy. So keep it in mind. I'm not going to sit here and try to get our folks to do things they're not supposed to do, but that is an emergency option, we'll say. Another thing to note today on this journey, that there's a ton of water along the trail, which is good. All right, so once you get back from the fire tower excursion, you're going to start your downhills, and the knees were aching. This is a long downhill, and you can see you go through several thousand feet. In fact, 3,000 feet of descending over this this length. So the downhill starts at 232.5, and by the time you get to the bottom of it, you are down at 239, so 7 miles of downhill till you get under the I-40 underpass. So you'll come out of the Smokies. It felt like relief. I'm not going to lie to you. I was so happy to get out of there, and then, but also sad because I knew I was about to get my butt kicked with thousands of feet of elevation climbing again. So it's important to know you're going to go under the I-40 underpass. There's an option to go into town, or I'm sorry, to go south about a mile to a gas station, and it is this Big Creek Country Store 1 mile south. And they said they were supposed to add showers and laundry by 2017. Don't know if that happened or not. I didn't walk down there. Didn't feel like doing an extra 2 miles that day. So I also knew that I was going to come up to this dirt road right here that you cross over. You cross over the road that leads to Standing Bear. When you get to the dirt road, you're going to take a left, and you're going to walk up about, I don't know, quarter of a mile to half a mile. Standing Bear is going to be on your right. I went up there, got a resupply, talked to the owner real quick, and then did him out and got out and started my ascent. So this climb out is brutal. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's a pretty steep climb. It never ends. And if you do some hardcore drinking down here at the hostel, you are going to hate yourself the next day. But hey, to each his own. Get to the top here. So you got to look at that. That's 4,263 feet. You started at about 1,300 feet when you crossed over the Pigeon River. So again, a lot of elevation gain. I gotta come right back down again, obviously down to Groundhog Creek Shelter. This is point 2 east. I don't remember seeing this. I don't think I stopped there. I kept going knowing that my ultimate goal was going to be this Roaring Fork Shelter, which would give me about 25 miles for the day. Another rough 25 miles, and I didn't get there till almost dark. The great thing about that is, though, you're going to go over Max Patch, which is one of the, ubiquitous great sights and great views of the Appalachian Trail. So I was excited to get there. But again, it's going to pay for some climbs and some roller coastering all the way to get there. It was really cold and windy this day. What I remember about these climbs right here, especially when you do a climb like this is Rube Rock Trail anyway. This is where it crosses over at the top of the summit. Brutal. And you get back down to the Brown Gap, and then you go right back up. And folks, this is steep. That is a steep incline, especially when you're tired. So just keep this in mind. When you leave Standing Bear, you've got a strenuous day ahead of you to get up to the top of Max Patch. And then down into the Roaring Fork Shelter. Again, I got there right as it was getting dark. There was a couple there that I got to spend the night with, at the shelter. They had just had a kid, and this was their first time away from their child. And they hadn't done a lot of camping, but it was cool. It was cool to meet them. Just young and vibrant couple. They ended up setting up their tent in the shelter because it was so freaking cold that night. And I just remember it was in the 20s that night at least, and I didn't sleep that well that night. But man, it didn't matter because I was going to be in Hot Springs the next day, so I was just trying to get up and get out. So woke up on day 17, started the assault on Hot Springs, and you can see it's going to make you earn it. You're going to go to the top of Walnut Mountain right here, and there's a grass clearing on top that I remember in the shelter, which is right on the trail. And then you go right back into the ubiquitous southern, get to the top of the trail and go right back down the other side of it into going up Bluff Mountain, and then start your descent into Hot Springs. Man, this was a long morning. It seemed like Hot Springs was never going to get there. I didn't do a lot of filming because I was just tired, dehydrated. Just wanted to get in freaking Hot Springs. And got there just at lunchtime. And cool thing was Fresh Ground. This is the first time I met him. I walked into the shelter at Laughing Heart. And by the way, Laughing Heart is right off the trail, right when you come down to the bottom of the hill. Laughing Heart's right to your left. I walked inside the hostel, and there's Fresh Ground with grilled chicken breasts, pasta salad, some bread. It was fabulous. It was a hiker feed, and that's what Fresh Ground's known for. You should look up some of his YouTube videos from prior years. He's the master of it, and this is where I was lucky enough to meet him, not just for the food, but because of who he was. So I got in there and he made some kind of fresh juice. It was fabulous, y'all. The magic of the trail hit me really hard this day. Kansas was there. He got there just before me, and we grubbed out and then enjoyed Hot Springs for the rest of the day and early the next morning before we DD-mowed out. And that's going to do it for our map studies all the way from Springer Mountain to Hot Springs. A couple things I wanted to show you. So if we go down to page 34 in the map, this is Standing Bear Hostel. This will give you a little map view of how to get there and what it looks like trail-wise. And then Standing Bear open year-round, hosted by Maria. She's the owner. And then tells you what they have there. And hey, it's good to go. It's not going to be a very clean place or a very enjoyable place if you're looking for a very nice hostel. But if you're just looking for somewhere to get off the trail and enjoy a fire ring and maybe cooking some eggs or something the next day, this is your place. And I would just say, whether you're going to stay there or not, you at least got to go by and see it, because it's just one of the nice things on the trail, one of those famous places that you just got to see. All right, y'all, we'll switch over to the video. All right, y'all, we'll go ahead and get the video kicking. Early riser back again. It is just after 6, March the 3rd. Day 16. I don't think you can see that, but anyway, stayed at Cosby Knob Shelter. Met through hiker Medicine Man who. Let me just say something real quick. I understand that looking back now. Some people called me on how much I clear my throat on the trail. It's just something you have to experience. It's just my body's reaction to walking in 20-degree weather, exerting itself. I'm sure there's a lot of overproduction of mucus in the background up in my head. But man, I'm telling you, it is tough to walk in that cold, talk, breathe. Your body's fighting to just keep, warm blood pumping to the necessary places. So, man, I apologize for all the hacking and clearing my throat, but I'm telling you, it's just reality of the trail. Actually lives about 10 miles from my dad. Grew up in the same area, so that was kind of cool. He's 65. Looks really in shape. He left only 6 days before me, and he's taken a 0 or 2 here in the Smokies. So his progress is really good. It's nice meeting him. And then there were 2 kids from Michigan University here on their spring break. Came up for the night. I thought that was cool. They got to drive back home to Michigan today. They just came from Mardi Gras, so interesting stories. And then one other kid, high extrovert. Y'all know me. I tried to definitely cordial with him, but he's going to spend 14 days inside the Smokies. His rucksack weighs about 80 pounds. First time ever doing this stuff, so we were just trying to give him some tips, but good on him, man. Good on him for coming out here. All right, y'all, heading down to Standing Bear. Going to resupply. Probably going to stay the night. I'll reassess my options when I get down there. I'd like to be in Hot Springs Sunday morning at lunch at the latest. All right, y'all. All right. That right there, first look at I-40. We'll be going under it today. I'll tell you, that's pretty cool though. Starting in Springer Mountain, Georgia, and I take I-40 all the time. And to see I-40 about to go under it today, just let you know we're gaining traction, moving north. Hunting Katahdin. All right, y'all. A little dark there, huh? Sun's about to come up, 6:52. Trying to make it up to the fire tower. Probably gonna miss sunrise, but it's cloudy anyway, so I don't think we're gonna be able to see it. Let's talk about breakfast when it's below freezing outside. It was at least in the mid-20s last night. Your food's hanging up on a bear line. It's all gonna be frozen. As soon as I get it down, I pull out what I'm gonna eat, which is 2 of my Nature's Own Pop-Tarts and a Cliff Bar, substituting for my oatmeal to the Smokies. And I shove those in one of my pockets. And go ahead and let that warm blood moving through your thighs start warming that food up. 20 minutes, good to go. Try to eat them before that, solid as a rock. That Cliff Bar will break your teeth. So that's just one example. I don't like to filter water when it's really cold. So that's when I pull out the stash of Aquamera that I have. Still have some left. So this morning, you gotta let it work longer when it's cold. So I filled up my 1-liter smart water bottle, mixed up some Aquamera, poured it in there, and then I stick that bottle in my right front pocket while I'm walking, letting that hot blood pump through your thigh, warm that up. So A, the Aquamera won't take as long. B, you don't have to sit there and pump water or filter it through your Sawyer squeeze while it's still cold outside. Take a chance of freezing it. Just tips, use them or lose them. Seem to be working for me so far. Hope everybody's having a good day. All right, y'all, go ahead and let that come into focus. All All right, those are the views from the fire tower. Let me touch on what we just talked about because there's a good lesson learned from me from what I was doing with my food. And I didn't realize it before I left on a through hike. I never heard anybody talk about it. So this is just my technique. Take it again, use it or lose it. The pants that you wear on a through hike, my opinion, should be pretty. So you got to be careful because you're going to lose a lot of weight, right? So folks who are already a little chunky, or we'll call you fluffy, before you start and you're wearing pretty tight pants, if you're starting in the cold, you just got to figure out where you're going to put those food items so you can warm them up in the morning. You could sleep with them, whatever. You could pull them down out of the bear bag and put them underneath your quilt with your sleeping bag for a while. That works. For those who like to get up and start walking, putting them in my front pocket. I had enough room. They were baggy enough. I could do it. I could put a candy bar in one pocket and put a 1 liter water bottle in the other pocket and not be uncomfortable. My pants wouldn't be so tight because those items were in there that it was uncomfortable walking. So doing it again, I would do it the same way, be able to use those pockets. And I'll tell you, that comes into play when you have to keep water unfrozen so you can drink it throughout the day. So you guys starting in February and March, you got to figure out if your water bottles are sitting back in your backpack or on a pocket on your front of your body, it's going to freeze on those cold days. Especially when I got up in Virginia, man, keeping that water warm enough to not freeze was hard. So I was having to walk with one bottle inside my front pocket, and I would rotate that one out with the other bottle just often enough to where both of them would stay unfrozen, or at least not have enough ice in there to where it would clog up the drinking spout at the top of my sports bottle top, if you will, and my smart water bottles. So those are the things you got to keep in mind that you don't think about till you're out there. And if you can take any tip away from this video today is, if you're starting early, man, how am I keeping my food edible and not frozen solid, and then how I'm going to keep my water unfrozen to where I can drink it, because a frozen water bottle it's worse than not having any water at all, because you can't drink it and it's heavy. So keep it in mind.
Well done, gut hook.
Okay.
So we'll see. Plan is to press on tonight.
One other thing I want to talk about right there
Saturday night
that I just missed because I was running my suck here is gut hooks. One of my favorite goals became changing the maps on gut hooks. And up from Springer Mountain to Standing Bear Hostel is your first map on gut hooks. And it takes, I'm on day 16 here and I haven't turned a map yet. Getting rid of that first map and transitioning over to the second map on gut hooks was as good as anything that happened to me on the trail up to this point mentally. So cool to be able to choose that next little pin drop and move on maps. So Gut Hooks is an awesome app, and it also is a great motivational booster as you get close to changing maps again.
It is day 16. Stand by. 9:45 in the morning. Out of the Smokies. Timestamp that. If I want to pitch my tent right here and sleep right here, I can. Looking forward to it tonight. All right, gratitude for what it gave me. Get myself off there. I was saying, like I said earlier, gratitude for what the Smokies gave me. Provided some incredible stuff yesterday. Won't look back. Pushing north.
All right, for those following along, let me drag this back just a little bit. This right here is Tennessee 32, North Carolina 284, Davenport Gap. So that is this road right here if you're following along. That's mile marker 237.6 in the book.
Pushing north. Again, just short of the I-40 underpass.
All right, so lesson learned with video, and I think I said this later on or earlier in one of these other videos. Your gyro and your camera, you just got to be careful. I would try to do it with one hand, and I would push record before my gyro had updated in my camera, so it would film it sideways. And if you don't catch it when you're editing, you'll get those stupid video clips in there.
Crossing over the road, heading to the I-40 underpass, and you'll see AT markings on the bridge. Right when you come out of the woods, it just feels odd to follow this road. But trust me, you gotta go across the bridge, make a right, and all is well. What a beautiful day.
All right, that is the Pigeon Forge Bridge.
And
Again,
instead
if
of
you're following
stopping,
along.
we're gonna get some today. We're
Pigeon
climbing out.
Forge Bridge, that is mile marker
Got a false
239
start.
coming up to
So
the
on
I-40
Hot
underpass.
Springs early. First, we gotta eat some grub. Either sounds pretty good. Just so y'all can see this, because I don't remember many videos showing the turnaround view, or the 180 if you will. So you came underneath I-40, tons of white markers all the way up. White marker right up there on that tree, and then white markers all over the place to guide you up the stone stairs. Pretty cool. Just as you.
All right, so lesson learned here for those who are new to hiking or traveling in the woods or anything. This is just an old military navigation technique, and I just watched Big Bird's newest video, his Trail Talks, which I really love. He breaks it down just like a pilot would, man, and that's kind of what I like about it. Turning around every now and then and looking at the trail and what's behind you is critical, right? Especially if you are on a section that isn't well marked, that you might have to walk again, and there's other trails intersecting and stuff. Turning around every now and then and forming that mental snapshot of, okay, this is what it looks like if I have to turn around and go back to another point to find a white blaze. Totally, I mean, this is just, it's basic knowledge, but a lot of people don't have that basic knowledge because you haven't grown up doing it. Um, and that's cool. I wouldn't have that knowledge either. I wouldn't have that thought process had I not been in the military for 21 years, doing tactical stuff. So just turning around and seeing, for the folks who are vlogging, if you can turn around and give this snapshot of, hey, this is what it's going to look like when you come up to the top of the road. And this helps out, man. So people can formulate, okay, I can see what that looks like as it turns around and what I can visualize now coming up the road of what he just walked. Because as y'all know, 99% of the time we're facing forward, but we never turn around and give you a shot of that's what it looked like, what I just walked up. And we should do it more. So hopefully, maybe as a tip, all you guys that are going to vlog this upcoming season, turn around every now and then and show us what you just came up. I wish I would have done it more now.
White marker right up there on that tree, and then white markers all over the place to guide you up the stone stairs. Pretty cool. Just as you would expect, to climb out of Standing Bear is tough. Stopped in. The gas station's a mile south down the highway, as I ain't gonna do it today. Stopped in Standing Bear, resupplied. Be careful for you early through hikers. Some of the stuff's outdated, like last year's stock. The stuff I got that was outdated, I'm not that worried about it. But it was all cheap, man, and it's a great resupply, and the guy's nice. It's a good gig they got going on there. It's worth a stop. And they sell beer there. So drink at your own, drink at your leisure. Just know the next day the trail's gonna get it's gonna get its payback. All right, here we go. Such a beautiful day to just walk. All right, already climbed 23.
All right, so just about what I was talking about with the resupply at Standing Bear, especially if you're an early through hiker, early in the season, as I was. You got to be careful with the resupply. Obviously, they have overstock from the previous season that they didn't sell that they'll probably want to get rid of. But they also stock up with supplies that they get at cheap places, at places where the stock's about to go outdated or something. They can get it really cheap. So just be careful. Some of the candy bars are about to expire, or already expired. The Pop-Tarts I got had already expired. So just keep it in mind. Look at the stock. Don't buy outdated stuff if you can help it. And I'm not saying they do it just to try to make money. It's just the way the process works. This is the top of Snowbird Mountain right here. That is a navigational beacon right there on top. Very famous.
Anyway,
Just a gorgeous day. Gorgeous views up here.
builds skyways up there, just like highways on the ground. Okay, what? Hold on, it ain't over yet. What? About 270 right there. Then Vortex DME, what? Back to the Smokies. Unbelievable day. The wind is cold as hell, but when it ain't blowing, this is awesome. Summit of Match Pack. Day 16, 5:39 in the afternoon. Heading to the shelter. Gorgeous up here, but windy and cold.
You can see this is 10 miles after Snowbird Peak. I just wasn't filming a lot this day. I was getting tired, man. Maybe a little cranky. I don't remember. It was cold, so cold. I hated to pull my phone out. My hands were just freezing. Hence the glove discussion we were talking about last time. I had gloves. By the way, I had gloves that would keep my hands warm. I didn't have gloves that would keep my hands warm, and I could manipulate the screen on my phone and turn the recorder on and off. So that's, if there's any confusion, that's what I was talking about last video.
Oh, it's day 17, 11:54 in the morning. First looks at hot.
Okay, so this is the first looks at Hot Springs, and if you notice, there's a big gap in what I filmed. I talked about it a little bit in the map study, but I went from max patch at mile marker 253 all the way till mile like 271 to descend into the hot springs, maybe 270. I'm sorry, 267. Where's hot springs at? No, I was right. 271 at Deer Park Mountain, descending out of that. So that was a long time of not filming, and just shows you how mentally tired you get. And
Hot Springs, mile 273 in the book. All right.
Also, my batteries were running a little bit low here. I was worried about not having enough. But the sight of coming into Hot Springs, it's one that you won't forget. I don't know if you can see this during the summer very well, but man, you can see in the winters, you just have these amazing views of this little town that you're coming in. And one of my favorite towns on the trail, I'm not going to lie to you, really loved it here.
Walking down street, Hot Springs. Go to the outfitter. Get back with y'all. Life's good. Staying at the Laughing Heart Hostel. Really good. $35 private room. Wash included. Good to go. Hot Springs, quiet little town. Pretty cool, as most of y'all know, the AT runs right through downtown Hot Springs. And when I came out of the woods today, a couple of hours ago, I think me and Red Mage came out at the same time. Only, no, because of the way he was holding his pole, the way he films with his pole stuck up in the air, so that was kind of cool. I'll try to link up with him sometime today. Anyway, going to the Dollar General. Oh, the outfitter store here is awesome. Best I've seen yet, so check it out. Really good. All right, y'all, walking from Laughing Heart back into town. Just gonna go down here and grab a couple of other items that I forgot to get resupply. I'm gonna grab some dinner. I'm gonna go back.
All right, so Laughing Heart Hostel is obviously behind me. To get down to town, you just walk down this road right here, and it curves around, and you're walking on the edge of a pretty busy road that descends down into Hot Springs, but nothing bad. Or you could go back behind me and take the Appalachian Trail down, and it'll take you by the diner where we ate breakfast at that's famous. I'm trying to find the name of it in here. Let me see. Anyway, it is fabulous. It is one that you do not want to pass up. It is the Smoky Mountain Diner, and it is fabulous. And it is actually, if you could see through these trees right here, it's right down here. So Hot Springs, Smoky Mountain Diner, breakfast, fabulous.
Finished packing up. I'm gonna hit the Rack Jack. It's been a good couple of days. I'm trying to push my body to the point to where it starts fighting back a little bit, so I can figure out what the sweet spot is. And I tell you, I definitely pushed it a little hard. Last couple of days I've did that. So let's just cover from the Smokies. First day was about 24. Then I had to do the 14. I had to stop short because of the storm. Then I made that back up doing a 25 or 26. And then did a 27 yesterday, and then 20 into town today. So that's about my max. I'm wore out. Plus I didn't sleep good last night, so I'm gonna pull it back a little bit and try to just average 20s. Let's see where that gets me. Anyway, beautiful little town, beautiful day. look forward to getting back.
Resupply options in town aren't necessarily great. You have this little country store that's right here, but they have some incredible baked goods and they have your necessities there. It's going to be a little pricey. And there's also a Dollar General, which I'm not a fan of, but everybody else seems to be. Um, but those are your resupply options. And also the Outfitter has some things, some camping food, if you will, and some Cliff Bars and things like that as well. So
Back out to the woods tomorrow.
those are your
All right,
options.
y'all. Hope the videos are going good for you. Keep commenting, man. I'll read every one of them. And if I catch up with Red Match, I'll get our.
This is
I'll
good
get
that they
us
at least
some.
put a guardrail in between you and the traffic, man. This doesn't happen a lot up in the north, up in the northeast. Um, I'll just leave us with that picture as I close this out. So I kept talking about Red Mage there. Still didn't know how to pronounce his name at the time. And by the way, this is the river, that diner I was telling you about to eat breakfast at right there. That place is awesome. I'd love to have breakfast there right now, actually. Yeah, so as I came out of the woods, I was miserable when I got to Laughing Heart Hostel, but as I came right out of the off the trail at the bottom of the hill, Red Mage was sitting there. Actually, again, if you listen to that video back in the day 16 and 17, he looked like a damn hobo standing there. I didn't really even recognize that he was a thru hiker. And then as his pole came up, I saw his camera on it, and I was like, man, that's him. But the problem was I felt so crappy. I was so dehydrated and tired. I didn't even care at the time, man. So I just wanted to get in the hospital and start recovering. And I figured I would catch up with him later, and I never did. I ended up passing him, left a little earlier out of Hot Springs. He stayed somewhere else, and the rest is history. But yeah, it was cool to see him, somebody that I had been laying in my bed at home watching start his through hike, and then I was there with him, which I had the mental faculties to go over and talk to him at the time. I was just feeling rough. All right, y'all, that is the end of this series. You are now in Hot Springs. For all of you 2018 through hikers and beyond, if you make it to the city, you have a pretty doggone good chance of finishing your through hike because it is tough to get here. And if you've done this, you can do anything. Um, so in the end, I am here rooting for all of you. I will do everything I can to help you out. Um, I'm going to invent a new video series, something that I think will be beneficial for you guys, and we'll see where it takes us. The next video that should be coming out is if I left this year knowing what I know now. This is what I would be carrying in spring, or if I left in the middle of February. So hopefully I will do that video today or tomorrow and get that out. All right, y'all. Can't tell you how excited I am with the new season upon us. They're getting close. There's some folks launching in January and a bunch of folks launching in February. So look forward to following all of you. All right, y'all. Out.